What if your body is already sending you signals about your liver health? Signals you just haven't learned to recognize yet. In this explainer, we're going to uncover these subtle and often ignored signs of fatty liver disease. And that's a really critical question, right? Because this condition, it doesn't show up with a loud bang. Nope, it whispers. And today, we're going to learn how to hear those whispers loud and clear. And that right there is the whole problem, isn't it? It's a silent condition when it starts out, which is exactly why so many of us just overlook it. But here's the thing, your body does give you clues, and we're about to uncover them together. Now, before we go any further, just a quick but really important note. This is all for educational purposes, okay? It is absolutely not a substitute for professional medical advice. If any of this sounds familiar, please go talk to your doctor and get a proper evaluation. All right, let's dive in. We are going to decode 7 key signals your body might be sending you. Think of yourself as a detective, okay? You're looking for clues to your own health. Okay, let's kick things off with something I bet a lot of you have felt. And I'm not just talking about being a little sleepy after a long day. No, it's a deeper, more persistent kind of exhaustion. So why does this happen? Well, this fatigue has a very direct cause. When your liver gets overloaded with fat, it really struggles to do its main jobs, filtering out toxins and processing the nutrients that give you energy. The result? You feel constantly drained, no matter how much you sleep. Okay, on to our next clue. Now, this isn't some sharp, stabbing pain that's going to send you to the emergency room. It's way more subtle, which is exactly why it's so easy to just brush off. So your liver is right up here, on the upper right side of your abdomen, just tucked under your rib cage. A dull ache, maybe a feeling of pressure, or even fullness right there, that can be an early sign. It might come and go, right? Making you think it's nothing, but it could be your liver trying to get your attention. Oh yeah, this is a big one. You're eating the same, maybe you're even exercising the same, but you start noticing that stubborn fat just accumulating right around your middle. This is so much more than just vanity. It can be a huge metabolic signal. And this is where things get really interconnected. That belly fat, it's closely tied to something called insulin resistance. That's when your body's cells just don't respond well to the hormone that controls your blood sugar. This is a major driver of fat building up in the liver. It's like a feedback loop, you see, where that weight gain you can see is a sign of a problem you can't. You ever have those days where your brain just feels fuzzy? Kind of like you're wading through mud just to focus on a simple task? Well, it might not just be that you need more coffee. And here's the direct connection. Your liver, it's your body's main filter, right? So when it's not working at 100%, toxins that should be cleaned out can end up circulating in your bloodstream and, well, they can mess with your brain. And that leads to that very real feeling of brain fog, forgetfulness, and just having a hard time focusing. Okay, I really want you to pay close attention to this next one, because honestly, the most common and definitive early sign, it's something you can't feel, you can't see, you can't touch. It's totally invisible. And here it is, elevated liver enzymes. During a routine blood test, your doctor might see high levels of things called ALT and AST. What are those? Well, they're enzymes that literally leak out of damaged liver cells. This is often the very first red flag, showing up long before you feel a single thing. And that is why regular checkups are so important for catching this stuff early. All right, let's talk about a clue that actually shows up on the outside of your body, on your skin. It's a very specific kind of skin change that can be a really powerful warning sign. Okay, so these dark, velvety patches, they're called acanthoses nigricans. You'll often find them in body folds like your neck or under your arms. Now, the key thing to get here is that this isn't just a skin issue. It's a huge external sign of internal insulin resistance. That same thing we talked about with belly fat, which is a major risk factor for fatty liver. See how all these clues are starting to connect? And that brings us to our final clue, sign number 7, persistent bloating. Look, we all get bloated now and then, but if you've got this constant feeling of fullness that just seems like more than a reaction to a big meal, it could be a sign of inflammation happening in your liver. So there you have it. We've decoded the clues. But why is it so incredibly important to catch this early? I mean, what happens if these silent alarms are just ignored? Let's take a look at the progression. Okay, so the journey starts with a healthy liver, right? The first stage of trouble is what we call simple fatty liver or steatosis. Now, I want you to look really closely at that word next to it, reversible. That is so key.
Because if it's ignored, it can move on to fibrosis, which is actual scarring, and then to cirrhosis, and that's severe, often irreversible damage.
Now listen, understanding the danger here isn't about scaring you. Not at all. It's about empowering you. Because when you spot something early, you have the power to completely change the outcome. So let's pivot from the problem and talk about the solution.
And this, right here, is probably the most important message of this entire explainer. Just let this sink in for a second. In its early stages, this condition is not a life sentence. With the right actions, you can often turn things around completely.
So this really lays out the choice you have, crystal clear. Path 1, you ignore the signs. That can lead down a very serious road. But path 2, you address the signs with lifestyle changes and, of course, medical guidance. That path leads toward reversal and recovery. The power to choose your path, it all starts with awareness. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. Your liver performs hundreds of critical jobs for you every single day, silently without ever complaining. The real question is, are you listening to its subtle signals? Are you giving it the support it needs to keep working for you? Thanks so much.